Hello, BookTube. I've got some new arrivals for you, books that were opened off camera that may be of interest to you. They sprawl all over creation. There are new ones, there are old ones, there are things that are not so old, but there are things that are already out. There are things that are coming out later this year, a couple of things coming out next year. I thought we'd just go through them as we usually do, especially given that some of these things may interest you more than they interest me. So nice for me to know that you know they're out there. So I've got a stack of them here, but we'll just go through them in double time here. The first one is for January. This is, I believe, a debut novel. Yes, this is a debut novel called Ghost Season by Fatin Abbas. With a kind of ghostly cover there from the folks at W.W. Norton. Let's see what we have here. A mysterious burnt corpse appears one morning in Saraya, a remote border town between northern and southern Sudan. For 5 strangers on an NGO compound, the discovery foreshadows trouble to come. South Sudanese translator William connects the corpse to the sudden disappearance of cook Layla, with whom he's fallen in love. Meanwhile, Sudanese-American filmmaker Dina struggles to connect her unfamiliar homeland, and the white Midwestern aid worker Alex finds his plan thwarted by a changing climate and looming civil war. Dancing between the adults is Mustafa, a clever, endearing 12-year-old who schemes to rise out of poverty. So amidst the paradoxes of identity, art, humanitarian aid, and a territory riven by conflict, these unforgettable characters must forge bonds stronger than blood, ethnicity, or nation. And the author got her MFA from Hunter College. So a debut novel that'll be, sounds like very steeped in the conflict in South Sudan. Then we have another 2023 release. This is also January. This is This Other Eden by Paul Harding. I think we saw this already on this channel. This has a pub sheet. What have we got here? This was inspired by the true story of Malaga Island, an isolated island off the coast of Maine that became one of the first racially integrated towns in the Northeast. In 1792, formerly enslaved Benjamin Honey and his Irish wife Patience discover an island where they can make a life together. Over a century later, the Honey's descendants and a diverse group of neighbors are desperately poor, isolated, and often hungry, but nevertheless protected from the hostility awaiting them on the mainland. During the tumultuous summer of 1912, Matthew Diamond, a retired, idealistic, but prejudiced schoolteacher turned missionary, disrupts the community's fragile balance through his efforts to educate its children. His presence attracts the attention of authorities on the mainland who, under the influence of the eugenics thinking popular amongst progressives of the day, decide to forcibly evacuate the island, institutionalize its residents, and develop the island as a vacation destination. So this will be all about that come January. I think we saw this already, but another novel. Okay, this next one is will be a hoot for you film fans. I've got a pub sheet for it already. This is by Charles Dennis, and it is called Review Copy Not for Resale. And it's all about the movie Arsenic and Old Lace. The movie, everything about it. Everything, not just the movie, but everything. What have we got here? Let's see here. It is referred to as one of the most beloved American murder mysteries and comedies. Let's see here. The author investigates the mystery behind the play. How did a true-life crime in Connecticut turn into a comedy? And who are the real writers that deserve credit for its long-lasting success? The author brings an insider's view to Joseph Kesselring's attempts to write Arsenic and Old Lace and how producers had to step in to save the play from his heavy hand. He also follows the actors, both on the stage and the screen, as they handle the demands of the roles and behind-the-scenes relationships. Why didn't Boris Karloff recreate his stage role even though Gene Adair and John Alexander did? Why did Cary Grant hate his performance in the movie? Was it because Frank Capra deceived him, or because of costume designer Ori Kelly? And why did the movie never receive Academy Award consideration? So a real down in the weeds, nitty-gritty analysis of this one movie, which I'm assuming a lot of you have seen. If you haven't seen the old Cary Grant movie, Arsenic and Old Lace, you really should put it at the top of your viewing, because it's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And it is the subject of a not very long book called Review Copy Not for Resale. Then we have a finished copy of something that we've already seen on this channel. I'm pretty sure we've talked about this before, but we'll go over it again just in case some of you missed that. This is October 25th. This comes out on Tuesday. And this is by Joseph Luzzi, and it is Botticelli's Secret, all about the Italian Renaissance. Some 500 years ago, Sandro Botticelli, a painter of humble origin, created works of unearthly beauty. A star of Florence's art world, he was commissioned by a member of the city's powerful Medici family to execute a near-impossible project, to illustrate all 100 cantos of the Divine Comedy by Dante Alighieri, the ultimate visual homage to that divine poet. This sparked a gripping encounter between poet and artist, between the religious and secular, between the earthly and the evanescent, recorded in exquisite drawings by Botticelli that now enchant audiences worldwide. So this comes out on the 25th, and it's all about the Italian Renaissance, but also about Dante's Divine Comedy, which we had a wonderful tour of from Tom L.A. Books here on BookTube. This next one will be familiar to you if you watch cable news. If you do, the Lord have mercy on your soul, but if you watch cable news, you will be familiar with this author and this book. I don't think I have a sheet for this. Oh, yes, I do. This is out already. I'm pretty sure this came out this month, October 11th, so just recently. This is Revenge by Michael Cohen, Donald Trump's former leg breaker and fixer who took the fall for him and went to prison. What have we got here? This tells the story, the behind-the-scenes story of what can happen to you and what really happened to him when a president who believes himself to be above the law decides to go after his critics. And this is that story. So, what do we got here? When Michael Cohen's secret payoff to porn star Stormy Daniels on behalf of Donald Trump made Cohen look like a liability to the by-then President of the United States, the end to their decades-long relationship came swiftly, with a knock on the door from the FBI. Soon, Cohen would find himself imprisoned, even though he had plenty of evidence to show he was innocent of most of the charges. The natural impulse, of course, his natural impulse will be to write that he was innocent of everything, that he did no wrong, although he has eaten his share of humble crow. He has admitted many times that his main problem, his main mistake, was trusting Donald Trump. Detractors will say otherwise, but this is the latest Trump book, so you want to know, it's out, it's brand new. Then we have a book that will, again, fascinate the movie fans among you. This is the Arsenic and Old Lace book really intrigues me. This also really intrigues me. This is by Sean O'Connell, and it is called Review Copy Not for Resale. I'm assuming that that's the title of the book because it's by far the most prominent thing on the cover and cannot by any force be removed. The other stuff, this subtitle up here, can be scraped away with a sponge or a steel wool pad. This can't be removed at all. You have to burn the cover to get rid of it. So I'm assuming that's the title. And that's the title as an explicit warning to the people who are helping this publisher with free publicity that they are losers and thieves. Just the message that you want to send to the people who are considering whether or not to, I don't know, review your book, commission a review of your book. Anyway, this is about Spider-Man. The subtitle is How Spider-Man Conquered Hollywood During the Golden Age of Comic Book Blockbusters. Applause is proud to announce November 22. So I don't have a specific date for this thing. No, I don't have a specific date. If Hollywood had a superhero throne, Spider-Man would be perched upon it. As the most popular superhero in the world, the web-slinger plays a pivotal role in 3 of the 6 highest-grossing film franchises in history: the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Avengers quadrilogy, and the Spider-Man movies themselves. Okay. Okay. I'm not sure you'd want to list the first 2 of those as separate things. Let's see. Spidey has come a long way since Marvel guru Stan Lee first concocted him in 1962. But until now, his cinematic journey has not been fully documented. The Wallcrawler's history in Hollywood is a saga filled with failed attempts, behind-the-scenes squabbles, franchise reboots, corporate intrigue, and a host of A-list names, including, of course, stars Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland. This book, Review Copy Not for Resale, is a lively and memorable account of the character's rise to box office supremacy, revealing how his movies continue to influence comic book adaptations being made even today. So this comes out in November. It's got the spider symbol and also a reel of film. So you Spider-Man fans are definitely going to want to. You're definitely going to want to have this, I think. I find it very fascinating. I love the Spider-Man movies, most of them. I even love the one you're supposed to hate. Then this next one A lot of you will also want to read this. This is I think another November release. Is that right? Oh no, this came out in September. This is out already. Looks fascinating. It's going on. This is a perfect example of how mail is dictating my TBR. This is going on my list for tonight, I think. Certainly the weekend. A lot of these things I'll be reading on the weekend. This is by Carter Hayward, and it is called The 7 Deadly Sins of White Christian Nationalism. And the subtitle is A Call to Action. I believe the author is an Episcopal priest, and she has seen it all and does not want what she's seeing to become the norm, either for America or for American Christianity. Let's see what we have here. Right-wing conservatives dare to call themselves Christians as they tear down equality and justice, commit horrible acts of violence, and fan the flames of fascism in America. And here, the author issues a call for action to Christians to truly hear God's message of peace and love. This book shows how American Christians have played a major role in building and securing structures of injustice in American life. Rising tides of white supremacy, threats to women's reproductive freedoms, and of basic human rights for gender and sexual minorities, the widening divide between rich and poor, the increasing natural disasters, and the extinction of Earth species all point to a world crying out for God's wisdom. Followers of Jesus must first call out these ingrained and sinful attitudes for what they are, acknowledging that the culture of white Christian nationalism is doing to our country and the world, and commit ourselves ever more fully to generating justice, love, whoever and wherever we are. And the author is a feminist theologian and a priest in the Episcopal Church. Right, so this will be bracing reading, of course. This is, like I mentioned, this is out already, so if it interests you, it should interest you, even if you don't think you're interested in religious subjects or Christianity. It very much should interest you, because the most powerful, the dominant, the complete future of the Republican Party is white Christian nationalism. They proudly proclaim it. That is something, this is an ideology. It's not fringe anymore. It's not intense in revival tense at the fringes of American Christianity. It is the mainstream, and it is totally in control of government, specifically Seven Mountains Dominionism. But Seven Mountains Dominionism is just one. There are many shards to that, and you will not find a MAGA superstar who does not want this to be a theocracy. They don't exist. And they're going to have all the power in the world very soon. So if your library has a copy of this, or if you want them to get a copy of this, now you know that it's out there. Then we have another film and stage book. I have to admit, I eat these things up. So maybe that's why I'm getting them. I eat them up. I just love them. The more knowledgeable and insidery, the better. This is by Elisa Gardner, and it's called Review Copy Not for Resale. I'm assuming that's the title, because it's by far the most prominent thing on the cover, and nothing can remove it from the cover. All the rest of the words on the cover I can scrub away if I want to and still leave the cover intact, but I would have to destroy the cover to remove this warning to the people who are trying to do you a favor, not to be thieves and losers. But this is about Pippin. This is a whole book about the Broadway show Pippin. How many of you have seen Pippin? Let's see here. This book celebrates the 50th anniversary of Pippin's opening. Two-time Pulitzer Prize jury member Elisa Gardner turns her attention to this innovative show, the musical retelling of the story of Prince Pippin, son of Charlemagne, and his quest for an extraordinary life. This book dives deep into the legendary clashes, backstage drama, and incredible artistic synergy that produced one of Broadway's most influential musicals. A show that paved the way for the pop-informed musicals that we know and love today. Full of big personalities, brilliant creative minds, and a never-before-told stories, this book is an intimate look at a moment in history, a time and a place in which popular culture was defined by conflict between young and old, idealism and cynicism, creation and destruction. The author draws out this friction through her examination of the creative struggles between Pippin's director-choreographer, the iconic Bob Fosse, for whom the show would mark a massive career resurgence, and its young composer-lyricist, Stephen Schwartz, who later went on to Wicked, who was making his Broadway debut. How fascinating. So, do we have a date on this? November. Just November. No more specific details than that, but I don't know how many of you have seen Pippin. I have seen it quite a few times. So this is just going to be absolutely fascinating for me to learn all those little details. Then we have a big fat biography. Hard to be a new release, a new arrivals video without a big fat biography. This one, I have to admit, deeply intrigues me. I think this is a 2022 release. Am I right about that? Let's see. Who are you? Yeah, November 15th. This comes out in the middle of next month. It is Lydia Maria Child, A Radical American Life by Lydia Nolan. Big, thick thing. Look at that. And the first full-length systematic biography this person's ever had, this writer has ever had. This comes out, November 15th. It's going to be $35. In 1830, Lydia Marie Child had established herself as something almost unheard of in the American 19th century, a beloved and self-sufficient female author. Best known today for the immortal poem Over the River and Through the Wood, the child had become famous at an early age for spunky self-help books and charming children's stories. But in 1833, she shocked her readers by publishing the first book-length argument against slavery in the United States. A book so radical in its commitment to abolition that friends abandoned her, patrons ostracized her, and her book sales plummeted. Yet Child soon drew untold numbers to the abolitionist cause, becoming one of the foremost authors and activists of her generation. Terra Incognita, not a familiar name at all. I love biographies like this, just love them. This book tells the story of what brought Child to this moment and the extraordinary life she lived in response. Through her example, philosopher Lydia Nolan asks questions as pressing and personal in our time as they were in Child's. What does it mean to change your life when the moral future of your country is at stake? When confronted by sanctioned evil and systematic injustice, how should a citizen live? Child's lifetime of bravery, conviction, humility, and determination provides a wealth of spirited guidance for political engagement today. Now, if you've been watching this channel, you know that that kind of pub sheet language worries me. Because if you are trying to make Lydia Marie Child a Twitter hero, you're going to fail to do that, because Twitter doesn't read, and you're also going to fail to do a biography. I have to hope that that is just the pub sheet. We have to remember that the pub sheet is not the book, right? I have to hoping this is just a full-dress biography rather than a lesson in Black Lives Matter or whatever. I have to hope that it's got more nuance to it than that. I have full confidence that it does. You wouldn't work that long just to respond to Twitter. Then we have a... We're getting towards the end here, don't you worry. This next one, I didn't notice that it was wrapped in plastic. It's a pretty thing, though, so you're going to want to see inside it. And I don't know if I have a sheet for this thing. It looks like I do. Do I? No, I don't. All right, well, you can look this up. It's a finished copy, so I'm assuming it's out already, or will be out real soon. This is by Diane Dark, and it is called The Ottomans, A Cultural Legacy. Look at how lovely that is. That is just beautiful. And it's heavy because it's illustrated just all throughout. Almost every page has an illustration of some kind or another. So that will drive up the price. What is this? $40. And I'll just read from the dust jackets. I don't have it. There's no sheet anywhere in here. At its height, the Ottoman Empire spread from Yemen to the gates of Vienna. Western perceptions of the Ottomans have often been distorted by Orientalism, characterizing their rule as oppressive and destructive, while seeing their culture as exotic and incomprehensible. Orientalism has a lot to answer for. You would not have wanted to live under Ottoman rule. Anyway, based on a lifetime's experience in living and working across its former provinces, the author offers a unique overview of Ottoman Empire's cultural legacy 1 century after its dissolution. She uncovers a vibrant, sophisticated civilization that embraced both arts and sciences, while welcoming refugees from all ethnicities and religions, notably Christians and Jews. Yes, that's often the thing that you say. You would not have wanted to be a Christian or a Jew living under the Ottomans. Take my word for it. The temptation to draw it as some sort of Shangri-La is, I guess, irresistible, since a number of authors do it. I don't know. Keep in mind, we don't know that this author does it. This is just the dust jacket. Dark celebrates the culture of the Ottoman Empire, from its aesthetics and architecture to its scientific and medical innovations, including the first vaccinations. She investigates the crucial role that commerce and trade played in supporting the empire and increasing its cultural reach, highlighting the significant role of women. Oh, for God's sake. Okay. All right. Okay. As well as the diverse religious, literary, and musical traditions that proliferated through the empire. Okay. All right, the significant role played by women, need I say. I don't know what the book says here, and I don't know when this comes out. We'll have to look that up. But need I say that if you would not have wanted to live anywhere under Ottoman rule, and if you would not have wanted to be a Christian or a Jew under Ottoman rule, need I say you would not have wanted to be a woman under Ottoman rule. And either way, this is a big, lovely thing. Some of you are a lot more interested in the Ottoman Empire than I am. So then we have some graphic novels, but they are not superhero graphic novels of the type that I love. Instead, they are non-superhero graphic novels. What is this first one? This is... this comes out in March. So this is not out yet. This is... oh my. All right. This is by Jason Lanzell, Sanka Banerjee, and Richard Mommsen. And it is called By Water, the Felix Manz story. So we have... oh my, it's got a little postcard in it. We have finished color artwork. So I'm assuming that the graphic novel is going to look just like this. Sometimes we'll get advanced copies of... oh my, look at that. Sometimes we'll get advanced copies of graphic novels that are in black and white when the finished version is going to be in color. But I think this is what it's going to look like. What have we got here? Would you die for your beliefs? 500 years ago, in an age marked by war, plague, inequality, and religious coercion, there were people across Europe who dared to imagine a society of sharing peace and freedom of conscience. These radicals were ready to die for their vision. They were executed by the thousands, by water, by fire, and by the sword, in both Catholic and Protestant states. This book, coming out next year, this comes out in March, is the first of a 3-volume graphic novel series that dramatically and creatively evokes a little-known chapter in the history of Europe's Reformation. It's the compelling and timely story about young people standing up for truth against the corrupt political and religious leaders of their day. Okay. So, European history, religious history, a non-superhero graphic novel. I know a lot of you favor those things. That's coming out. And our next one here, let me put the card in here as well. Our next one is also a non-superhero graphic novel. Let me see what we've got here. This is by Aomer Bohm and Naji Berber. And it comes out in January. So this is also next year. Looking at the pub sheet to tell me whether or not this will be in color, because this one is not. This one is in black and white, and this is the advanced. This is uncorrected proof, so I don't know if the end result will be in color. But this is called Undesirables, A Holocaust Journey to North Africa. That's what the cover will look like. The cover at least has muted colors. Let's see. In the lead up to World War II, the rising tide of fascism and anti-Semitism in Europe foreshadowed Hitler's genocidal campaign against the Jews. But the horrors of the Holocaust were not limited to the concentration camps of Europe. Anti-Semitic terror spread through Vichy France, imperial channels to French's colonies in North Africa, where in forced labor camps of Algeria and Morocco, Jews and other undesirables, hence the title, faced brutal conditions and struggled to survive in an unforgiving landscape quite unlike Europe. Okay, and this has really photographic, ripped from the newspapers artwork all throughout it, but also personal stuff here. So this is an example where I could see that they might not do color for this, but I don't know. This doesn't come out until next year, so it's another graphic novel for you. And then we'll finish up with this last one. Which is it's bound pages. I don't even have an advanced copy for this, and this comes out in December, so I'm assuming I'll get an advanced copy soon. But I don't have much to show you. It's just one of these things where somebody at the house just takes the pages, runs them off at a Kinko's, and has them plastic bound. But so I don't have anything. It's not really anything to show you, but we can still talk about it. It's called Mercy. The subtitle is Humanity in War, and it's by Cathal Nolan, who did a great big book on warfare itself that I cannot recommend strongly enough, and reviewed. If I remember, I will leave a link to the review. And this is Cathal Nolan's new book. Let's see here. On the battlefield, the rules of morality that govern humanity are believed to fall apart. Accounts of war paint a picture of death, destruction, and desolation as each side pursues victory and survival at all costs. Ordinary soldiers simply carrying out orders of their superiors. Indeed, these images of war ring true for the experiences of those who survived them. However, they are not the beginning and end of the story. In this book, the author proposes a simple yet radical lens for understanding the moral conditions of war and how ordinary people survive them, the phenomenon of mercy. This book is the highest and personal, mercy is the highest and personal of personal and moral qualities. Is it really? The author asserts, and its quiet power complicates our assumptions about the moral climate of war. Well, this is going to be a companion volume to his big book on war. The author uplifts the stories of ordinary people who performed extraordinary acts of mercy on the battlefield, from a World War II submarine captain who towed women and children of the opposing side to safety, to a Ukrainian tanker in 2015 who spared the life of an enemy soldier, later posting an impassioned plea on Facebook to the soldier's mother for him to leave the war. Okay, so this is going to range... This is not just going to be World War II, as I kind of thought when I looked at this originally. This is going to be... Okay, the book is arranged culture, combat, the protected, and technology. So the table of contents doesn't tell me how many conflicts this ranges over, but I imagine it'll be a lot. The sound of that is that it'll be a lot. So that comes out in December. That's out this year. And that is it, believe it or not. that is our new arrivals here. So we don't have anything really to show you from Mercy. That's just a unbound galley. Then we have the Undesirables, about concentration camps in Algeria. We have By Water, rebels in European Reformation. We have the Ottomans, cultural legacy, big, lavishly illustrated thing. I've done a lot of reading about the Ottoman Empire. This sounds like it'll be a great companion. Then Lydia Marie Child, a big new biography, first of its kind, I think, of an American writer and noted abolitionist. We have a review copy not for resale, a book entirely dedicated to the backstage drama and gossip of Pippin. I'm still curious to know how many of you have seen Pippin, and who was Pippin when you saw the show, who was playing the lead. Then we have The Seven Deadly Sins of White Christian Nationalism, probably an important book, especially since it's written by a Christian, a believing Christian. I've read a couple of books on this subject from people who are the ever-increasing category of none. On census and identification forms, when asked what their religion is, they tick off none. And those are always impassioned and very interesting, but I imagine this would be even more powerful for those of you who are interested in such a thing. And then we have review copy not for resale, a book entirely about the cinematic history of Spider-Man. You gotta love it. You just gotta love it. Then we have Revenge by Michael Cohen. More insider dirt about his conviction, about his relationships with his former employer, etc. We have Botticelli Secret, about Botticelli's mammoth illustration of Dante's Divine Comedy in a finished copy. We have review copy not for resale, a slim but I'm hoping very chatty book about Arsenic and Old Lace, all of it. So the original story, stage versions, the famous movie. It's certainly going to prompt me to watch the movie again. Now I'm wondering, I have a whole bunch of cable streaming services that I never use. I never look at them. And I'm wondering if Arsenic and Old Lace is on any of those right now. So I'm sure that when I read this thing, I'm going to want to watch it again. Then we have This Other Eden by Paul Harding, January 2023 release in fiction. And Ghost Season by Fatin Abbas, also a January 2023 fiction release and a debut novel. So there you go. Nice big pile of stuff for new releases that are out now, that have been out for a bit, that are coming out. We'll see if we can sift through there, find anything that's really of interest to you. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up for now. We've gone on quite long enough, but I will be back. Thank you, BookTube.